Hello, welcome to Ra-El Bull. I'm a professional astrologer and holistic wellness practitioner. Thank you so much for choosing to spend precious minutes of your time with me today. This is the monthly electional astrology overview for November 2023. I'm your host and guide, IFEYMERAEL. So let's begin by getting a basic definition. What is electional astrology?
Electional astrology tells us when to take action and when not to take action for important events in our lives. The thing that you're trying to plan, the event, I'll refer to as the race, which is Latin for the thing. The thing could exist within the business, career, and financial spheres, or it could exist in the personal spheres. If it's business, career, or financial, it might be signing contracts, launching new products or services, forming new companies, entering new partnerships, executing mergers, important financial undertakings of any kind. In the personal spheres, this could be planning a trip or leaving for a trip, or a journey or a voyage. It could be a major event in a creative project of some kind. It might be something in this spiritual sphere, an event or ceremony or an expedition, performing a vision quest. Socially, we could be talking about family reunions, gatherings, parties, major social events, galas and banquets. In the romance and relationships sectors, we might be talking about making a proposal to get married or getting engaged or an actual wedding ceremony itself, or a renewal of vows, that kind of thing.
I've created a calendar for these monthly videos, which is free for you to access. You simply need to have Google Calendar installed on your device and subscribe to my website. The link for the Ra-El Bull website is below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to support this channel. Let's take a look at the calendar. The first thing I'd like to show you in the calendar are the moon void of course periods. Here's an example of one right here on the 1st. You can see it runs from 5:36 a.m. to 2:31 p.m. November 1st. This is all Pacific time. Moon void of course periods are inherently unreliable, unpredictable, and they tend to generate unexpected happenings and results and reactions. The best advice during a moon void of course period is to do private and internal work, lay low, work on research, analysis. These are wonderful times for creative activities, brainstorming, exercise the imagination and intuition, meditate, or study. All of those are good uses of void of course moon periods. Don't plan a race during a moon void of course. These occur about every 2 days. They can last from usually a couple of hours to even longer than 2 days. The next feature I'd like to show you on this calendar are the moon phases. The positive moon phases are indicated in lime green. The negative ones are in red. Here's the waning gibbous and the waxing crescent, the waxing gibbous. The full moon itself is also a positive moon phase, along with these 3 other: waxing crescent, waxing gibbous, and waning gibbous. 3 other things I'll show you about this calendar. I have indicated the positive and negative planetary transits and aspects. The positive transits are in dark green, such as Mercury sextile Pluto or Sun trine Neptune. The negative ones are in red, such as Mercury opposite Uranus and Mars opposite Uranus. The moon sign transits are indicated in gray. The moon transits through every zodiac sign in the wheel once a month. And each journey is about 2.3 days. Here's the Virgo transit, the Libra transit, Sagittarius, and so on. They're all in gray except for the Scorpio transit and the Capricorn transit, because those are generally disfavored for a race. The last thing I'll show you about the calendar are the favorable lunar tail aspects. These are the periods most favored for a race, and they're indicated in light green. This month, there are 4 favorable tail aspects. They're in Virgo, Scorpio, Pisces, and Taurus. And they're indicated, as I said, in light green. One final thing to note about the calendar, all of the entries here are in Pacific time. That's indicated up here. It's also indicated wherever there's a void of course period, you can see the time zone is indicated here as well. In this part, I'll advance through the calendar and provide some commentary for the various phases and transits. Beginning with November 1st through the 3rd, this is a waning gibbous phase. There are no favorable tail aspects in either Gemini or Cancer, unless we consider the moon square Neptune favorable in Gemini. If I had to set a race during these 3 days, I'd probably choose the 1st before 5:36 a.m. Pacific time. Moving to a long period, November 4th through the 14th, this is the 3rd quarter moon plus the balsamic and new moon. I'd avoid the 4th through the 11th entirely because of the moon phases. The Scorpio moon tail aspect for its transit on the 12th and 13th is auspicious, but Scorpio moons are disfavored for electing a race. On the positive side, the lunar Scorpio transit features lunar trines, positive aspects to both Neptune and Saturn, and ends with a sextile, another positive aspect, to Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio. All of this is strongly supported for any race connected with deep spiritual and mystical work. Moving to November 15th through the 18th, this is a waxing crescent phase. The Sagittarius lunar transit here has squares to both Saturn and Neptune, which are adverse aspects. Despite having a sextile, a positive aspect with a very empowered Venus in Libra. Sagittarius is a sign supportive of spirituality, higher belief systems, foreign language, long distance travel, and law, and philosophy, actually. Mercury is sextile to Venus at this time, which is positive for communication, mobility, thinking, aesthetics, money, and design. However, the final lunar aspect is a square with Neptune, which suggests illusion, delusion, fantasy, and confusion. But Neptune is not a true malefic, so I wouldn't discount the Sagittarius lunar transit entirely, which occurs during a waxing crescent phase. I like the period on the 15th until 2:56 p.m. Pacific time when the VOC period starts. I'd advise against scheduling a race during the Capricorn lunar transit entirely. On the 18th, Mars is conjunct the Sun, which I'll discuss more later, and the waxing crescent moon is in Aquarius at about 3:30 a.m. Pacific time. If this occurs in a highly favorable house for you and you must schedule the race in November, I'd consider this date. The final lunar aspect in Aquarius is Sun square Moon, but neither of these astroplanets are malefic, so it's feasible for a race. Moving to November 19th through the 21st, this is a quarter moon period. The first quarter moon typically reflects a crisis of commitment. I'd avoid this period entirely for a race. November 22nd, we're looking at a waxing gibbous moon. Before 7 a.m. Pacific time on the 22nd, we have both a positive moon phase and an auspicious tail aspect in Pisces. So I like the early hours of the 22nd, especially for any race that involves spirituality, mysticism, creativity, art, or is steeped in values like unity, empathy, and compassion. The final lunar aspect in Pisces is Moon trine Mars, a positive aspect. So that suggests pacification, quelling aggression, and even a reconciliation or emotive integration with our own passions, ambitions, and individuality. Unfortunately, the Sun squares Saturn the following day, which we can expect will illuminate the hard work, discipline, and responsibility required for success. Moving to the 24th through the 26th, this is a waxing gibbous phase. We have an auspicious tail aspect in Taurus. The moon enters Taurus about 12:30 p.m. on the 24th, and we have a waxing gibbous moon for the entire 2.3-day transit through Taurus. So I like the 24th this month as well. In Taurus, the moon is in its fullest and highest expression. So any race that involves positive emotion or intuition or our internal reality and experience is favored. Things like engagements, weddings, family gatherings, all are well supported during this time. Any race that is strongly resonant with Taurus is also favored. Agriculture, fruits, vegetables, flour, and also money and currency. In addition, Mercury is trining the North Node, so we can expect thinking and communication about our future will be advantageous. On the downside, we have Mars square Saturn on the 25th, which points to restrictions and restraints on our self-assertiveness, passions, ambitions, and identity drive. This is a hurry up and wait aspect. The 24th is the day after the Thanksgiving holiday in North America. It could mean a really warm and emotionally nourishing holiday period with lots of wonderful food and beautiful sensorial experiences. Moving to the 27th through the 30th, here we have a full moon in Gemini. It's a waning gibbous phase as of the 28th through the 30th. For the remainder of the month, the moon is in Gemini and Cancer, and its phases are full and waning gibbous, which are both fine for scheduling the race. The downsides, there are three of them, are first, Mercury is squaring Neptune, which promotes fuzzy thinking, confusion, illusion, imprecision, and error. Sun square Lilith, which we can expect will illuminate and amplify repressed emotion. And Venus opposite the North Node, which creates a tension between our aesthetics, love, and relationships, and our future, our destiny, our life purpose, and development. Okay, to do a recap and provide my conclusions in a summary form, November is not super ideal for any race, as all the favorable moon phases have afflicted journeys or transits. Nonetheless, my favorite days are November 11 after 10:39 a.m. Pacific time, November 12, November 13 between 1:27 a.m. and 3:03 p.m. Pacific time, November 15 until 2:56 p.m. Pacific time, November 21st and 22nd, that is the late afternoon and evening hours on the 21st and before 7 a.m. Pacific time on the 22nd. November 24, starting at 12:29 p.m. Pacific time, and November 26 until 1:51 p.m. Pacific time. Of those, I would say the top three are the 13th, the 15th, and the 22nd. I also like the Sun conjunction with Mars on November 18, with some qualifications. This transit is called Mars Cazimi. It begins a 2.2-year cycle. Mars is especially powerful in Scorpio, and especially in this lunar mansion, which in Vedic astrology is called Vishaka. So this cuts in both directions. Mars rules action, aggression, assertion, ambition, courage, determination, drive, personal energy, our passion, lust, sexuality, and spontaneity. This lunar mansion is called the moon of power. Power, of course, is complicated because it presents choices, it requires judgment, prioritization, ethical considerations, discernment, and responsibility. If this particular conjunction is occurring in your first house, the house of the self, the fifth house, the house of creativity and romance, the 10th house, your house of career, or in any other house that is strongly resonant with your particular career, this Cazimi could be very fortunate for you because it holds so much power. However, I want to provide a few warnings about Mars Cazimi. Whenever we have Mars overstimulated like this by the sun, be careful of aggression, intemperate reactions, explosive anger, road rage, rageaholics, those kinds of dynamics. Also, an overstimulated Mars advises us to be careful of blades and sharp instruments. This is no joke. Be also careful of volatile and explosive substances at this time because this Cazimi is opposite Uranus, which rules explosions, as well as earthquakes. Not much we can do about that except be prepared, of course. All of these warnings I would observe several days before the 18th and a few days after, let's say the period of the 15th through the 22nd. Okay, a few notes about natal charts and house systems. If you need to know how to discover where your houses fall within your natal chart, you can visit any search engine site and type free natal astrology chart. You'll have to key in your birth date and time, if you know it, and your place of birth. I would recommend using the Placidus or whole sign house system if you're given a choice. And I would start with tropical Western astrology rather than Vedic or sidereal. Or in the alternative, you can visit my site, which is listed in the description below, if you'd like to have your chart prepared by a professional astrologer. This video has provided some broad and generalized advice for creating an electional chart for the month. If you'd like customized and focused advice about your particular event or undertaking, which will include a preparation and comparison of your natal chart with the electional charts, contact me using the information below, and you can place an order for that on my site. In addition to natal chart and electional chart services, I also provide Sophianic spirituality, higher self activations, and general consultations for spirituality, health, and wellness and career. You can schedule time for a one-to-one consultation with me on my site. And if you're interested in participating in a Sophia Circle journey, I'm facilitating a virtual circle of 13 90-minute sessions that begins on November 11, 2023, and another circle which will be live in West Hollywood, California, the first week of January 2024. Thank you again for spending your time with me today. Rael Bo.